Grip training is a common way for climbers to increase their max climbing grades as well as increase their endurance so they can keep climbing longer. You may have noticed that pro climbers can often hold their entire body weight and more with just one hand. So a lot of beginners start grip training and they make a ton of mistakes. I've made a lot of these mistakes as well. Today we're going to go through 9 of the most common mistakes when it comes to training for grip strength. Let's get started. So mistake number 1 is training on a hangboard too early. So if you are new to climbing, you may be tempted or feel like your grip strength, if you train that, you'll get better faster. And yes, grip training on a hangboard will improve your grip strength, but for beginners, you should really wait at least a year of climbing before doing so. That being said, this rule of thumb of a year before hangboarding is because after a year, you have a pretty good sense of what your tendons feel like and how they're going to react to working out. So if you climb really often, you may be okay starting to hangboard after just 3 months. But really the rule of thumb is being able to know what your body, being able to understand your body and your tendons to see if you can actually do the workout that day. Mistake number 2 is not resting enough between sets. Now, when it comes to hangboarding specifically, a lot of times workouts will be 8 seconds on hanging and 2 minutes off. If you find yourself a mistake, however, that most climbers in the beginning make is that they don't rest enough. They may feel really comfortable, like they can do another session 30 seconds after, and so they hop back on the hangboard. The problem with this is you're more likely to reach fatigue, and once you reach that fatigue, you're definitely increasing your risk of injury. So make sure you use a structured workout where you're doing significantly more rest between the sets than you are actually on the hangboard. And you don't have to sit on the bench while you're resting. You could also go and do push-ups, or you could do a core workout or anything that doesn't really use your grip. Go ahead and do that while you're waiting for those 2 minutes to pass. Mistake number 3 is only looking to the hangboard when it comes to grip training. Hangboard is a great way to improve your grip, but there's actually a lot of other things you can do. Lattice boards, for example, you can hang from pull-up balls or the pull-up cones or the pull-up cylinders, even just doing climbing without your feet where you're just on the holds. I even made a video of different workouts that you can do to improve your grip strength, none of which include a hangboard, so check that out because you can do a lot without a hangboard and it can actually be a little bit safer if you're just using 5 pounds instead of your entire body weight, for example, with some of these exercises, so check it out. Mistake number 4 is training your grip strength too often. In general, you only need to train your grip 1 to 2 times per week, and unlike muscles, you don't keep on exercising when you're super exhausted because you're likely to get injured. 1 to 2 times a week with climbing on top of that is plenty for you to be able to get the gains that you're looking for at a significant speed. Mistake number 5 is not warming up before you get started on your grip training. This is especially true with anything where you're just holding on and hanging out. You should get at least 15 minutes of warming up. That includes grip, your wrist, your forearms, and shoulders. One of my favorite warm-ups is climbing, and you can climb 2 to 3 grades lower than what you're used to just to get the blood pumping. There are other exercises like arm rolls and things like that. There's a ton of things that you can do for warm-ups. Just make sure that your tendons aren't cold when you get started with your grip training. Mistake number 6 is when you use the wrong grip on a hangboard. Now, hangboarding being one of the most common grip trainers, that's probably why you're seeing the most mistakes on this list related to hangboarding. And one thing with hangboarding is it's a little bit different with crimps. We're familiar with over crimping, which you put your thumb over and your fingers are completely curled in. This is a dangerous grip, and if you weren't familiar with that, check out my video on crimps. And then you have the open crimp, but it's still about a 90-degree angle, and then you have a fully open crimp where your fingers are mostly extended. With climbing, you usually try to keep your hand as open as possible because it puts the least amount of strain on your tendons. With grip training, however, you're going to want to do at least a half crimp where you have about a 90-degree angle. That will put enough strain on your tendons so that you actually build tendon strength while not being as dangerous as a closed crimp. Again, I cannot caution you enough, do not use a closed crimp. Mistake number 7 is waiting to the end of a climbing session to do grip training exercises. Like I mentioned before, 15 minutes is a good warm-up. While anything beyond that, like a full climbing session, your tendons are going to be pretty tired, and once you are tired in your hands, that's when your increased risk of injury happens, and there is less that you can do for grip training, so you're not going to get as much out of it. With that being the case, doing a warm-up, then grip training, then a climbing session is ideal. The exception to this, however, is when you're using a lattice board to do your grip training. Lattice board, because it's specifically for endurance, is great for the end of your session. Of course, make sure that you're paying attention to how your body feels. If you're too tired, stop. Don't complete a lattice board session and move on or finish your climbing session. So just a quick recap on that. Don't wait to the end of your climbing session to do grip training unless you're doing a lattice board, which keep in mind when you're doing lattice board, you are using your feet. So you should still be putting a lot of weight in your feet, which takes a lot of the pressure off of your hands. Mistake number 8 is really common but super easy to fix, and that's when your shoulders get close to your ears while you're on a hangboard. You want to make sure that your shoulders are completely engaged, meaning that you push them back, and your shoulders should be pretty far away from your ears while you are hangboarding. Again, common mistake, super easy to fix. And the final mistake, number 9, is not training grip strength enough. And that may surprise you because I've been talking about this 1 to 2 times a week and that doesn't seem like a lot. But what I'm saying is some climbers will do hangboarding once a month. And the gains that you get from once a month are lost by the time you do the next training session. So doing it at least once a week will help you keep the gains that you're getting from grip strength. If you can't do grip training, which there's a ton of different things you can do to improve your grip training, here's that video, then at least climb on small climbing holds a couple times a week. That way you don't lose the gains that you've gotten. There you have it, 9 mistakes beginners make when they are training for their grip. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below, or recommendations for more videos, please be sure to do it. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe for more like it. I'm Sarah from SendEdition.com. Thanks for watching and enjoy climbing.